Welcome to the deep dive. You know, when you look back through history, you see these moments, these technologies that just change everything.
Like the printing press,
Yeah.
right? Or the microscope.
Exactly. Or the transistor. They weren't just inventions. They were like accelerators.
Right.
They fundamentally changed how fast we could learn things and use that knowledge.
And we argue, I think, quite strongly that we're right in the middle of the next big one of those moments.
Yeah.
Right now.
Which is?
The emergence of, well, let's call it scientific superintelligence.
Yeah.
For centuries, the real bottleneck, the slowest part of progress, has been us, the human brain.
The cognitive bottleneck.
Yeah.
Science has always depended on, individual flashes of genius, lots of slow manual lab work.
And just the incredibly time-consuming process of human intuition, testing, writing it up, peer review. It's slow.
And the argument in our sources is pretty stark in this exponential century we're in, with things like pandemics, climate change, maybe even engineered threats scaling up so fast. That kind of slow science isn't just inefficient anymore. It actually becomes a risk, maybe even an existential one.
Yeah, you can't afford a 5-year vaccine timeline or a 10-year search for a new material when the problem's evolving month by month.
Right. So if we're in some kind of race against these exponential threats,
We need to shift science from moving at the speed of human thought, essentially, to moving at the speed of computation.
okay? So that's the mission for this deep dive then, understanding this architectural shift, moving away from humans driving discovery to autonomous systems.
Precisely. Replacing that human-dependent process
Yeah.
with systems that can, well, drive themselves. Autonomous discovery.
So when did this really kick off? Is there a moment we can point to?
I think 2012 is a really strong candidate for the tipping point. It's remarkable, actually. 2 massive breakthroughs happened almost back to back.
Okay.
First, in biology, you had the publication of the foundational CRISPR paper, Dodin and Charpentier. They showed how this, simple bacterial immune system
Right, the gene editing tool,
could become a universal, incredibly precise tool for editing genes.
which was just mind-blowing, right? Before that, manipulating the code of life was so messy, so unpredictable.
Exactly. CRISPR basically gave us the potential, or maybe gave machines the potential eventually, to treat life, biology itself, as programmable code.
Turning biology into a computational field, that's a huge mental shift.
A massive shift. And then almost at the same time, the second breakthrough, AlexNet, purely computational.
This was in computer vision.
Yeah. It just shattered the previous stagnation.
Yeah.
Using deep convolutional neural networks, it basically taught a machine to interpret images with, well, superhuman accuracy.
I remember the competition results. Didn't it, cut the error rate in half compared to the next best?
Pretty much. It was a step change. So suddenly you had these 2 incredible capabilities emerging almost simultaneously.
The power to edit the code of life with CRISPR.
And the power for machines to perceive and understand the world through systems like AlexNet.
Programmable matter and machine cognition.
That convergence, that's the bedrock. It's the launch pad for everything that follows.
Okay, so this isn't just one invention like the transistor. You're saying it's more like an ecosystem.
Exactly. That's what's really different this time. It's not a single algorithm or machine. It's this distributed system, a convergence of 5 key technologies that work together.
Creating a feedback loop.
A self-reinforcing, recursive feedback loop of discovery. Faster discovery leads to better tools, which leads to even faster discovery.
And there's an acronym for this architecture, Fabric.
Fabric, yeah, it helps frame the 5 pillars.
Let's break it down. F. What's F?
F is fusion, the energy substrate.
Okay, energy seems straightforward, but why is it foundational in this context?
Well, think about science. It requires tons of iteration, right? Running experiments over and over, powering massive computations.
Yeah.
If your energy is limited or expensive.
You throttle the whole system. You can't run experiments at the scale you need.
Exactly. Fusion promises almost limitless, cheap, clean energy. That means the cost of experimentation in energy terms basically drops towards 0.
So you can run 1 million simulations or 100,000 automated lab experiments without the energy bill being the limiting factor.
It makes the discovery engine potentially perpetual. It removes a fundamental resource constraint.
Okay, F gives us the power. What about A? Is this the intelligence part?
A is artificial intelligence, the reasoning substrate. And we're talking way beyond just analyzing data here.
Right, not just finding patterns in existing stuff.
No, this is about knowledge synthesis. AI that can read literally all the scientific literature, identify gaps, inconsistencies, opportunities.
And then generate genuinely novel hypotheses.
Novel, complex hypotheses. And crucially, design the experiments needed to test them at a scale and speed no human team could ever hope to match.
Okay. F for fusion energy, A for AI reasoning. Then B, biotechnology. Back to CRISPR.
Back to CRISPR, but broader. B is the substrate of life itself, now viewed computationally. Programmable genomes, synthetic biology, engineering cells and tissues.
So it's about treating biological systems like software or hardware that we can design, build, and debug.
Precisely. Manipulating matter at the molecular level with computational control. It's the domain AI can now operate within.
Got it. Then R must be robotics, because someone or something has to actually do the experiments the AI designs.
R is robotics, yes. The
Yeah.
embodiment, the hands and eyes of the system. Think autonomous labs, self-driving labs.
Robots pipetting and running assays 24/7.
Exactly. Robots that can perceive the environment, execute complex protocols precisely, measure the results, and feed that data right back into the AI. It closes the loop.
Idea to experiment to result, continuously.
Continuously, scalably, without human error, without fatigue, without needing coffee breaks.
Right. Bad news for grad students, maybe.
Well, maybe it frees them up for higher level thinking. But yes, it removes that manual labor bottleneck. It's integrated automated discovery.
Okay, one letter left. I. Innovative computing. Why do we need new kinds of computers? Aren't our current supercomputers powerful enough?
For some things, sure, but for the truly complex problems in science, simulating a new catalyst, predicting how a drug interacts with hundreds of proteins, modeling climate systems.
The complexity just explodes.
Exponentially. The number of possible states or interactions is just too vast for classical computers, which work with simple ones and zeros. You hit a wall.
So things like quantum computing or neuromorphic chips that mimic the brain.
They offer fundamentally different ways to handle that massive complexity, that uncertainty and interconnectedness. They become the necessary engine for the AI to tackle these grand, challenged scientific problems.
Okay, so fabric. Fusion, AI, biotech, robotics, innovative computing. When you weave those together,
The whole paradigm shifts. It's no longer science done by humans using tools. It becomes science done by autonomous systems, perhaps guided or directed by humans.
which leads us to this idea of the AI scientist. Not just a tool, but something with real autonomy.
That's the trajectory. We're already seeing precursors, like self-driving labs that optimize chemical reactions faster than human teams.
But this goes further. This brings up the Nobel Turing Challenge. What's that about?
It's a concept, really a goal, proposed by Hiroki Kitano. Can we build an AI system by, say, 2050 that's capable of making a discovery worthy of a Nobel Prize?
Wow. Okay. But is that just about automating the existing scientific process really, really well? Or is it about something more? Can a machine have genuine insight, true creativity?
That's the crux of it. The goal isn't just automation, it's autonomy. It's not enough for the AI to follow instructions faster. It needs to understand the why.
Make strategic decisions about what research is promising, synthesize completely new concepts.
Exactly. Discover the underlying principles, not just correlate data or optimize a known process. That's the difference between automation and autonomous discovery.
Do we have any proof this is even possible? That AI can go beyond pattern matching to genuine scientific insight?
I think we do. The prime example has to be AlphaFold.
Protein folding. Right, that was a huge problem for decades.
A 50-year grand challenge in biology, predicting the 3D shape of a protein just from its amino acid sequence. That shape dictates its function, so it's absolutely critical.
And the old ways, X-ray crystallography, cryo-EM, they worked, but they were slow and expensive.
Incredibly slow. Months, often years, for a single protein structure. Painstaking work.
And AlphaFold, particularly in the CASP14 competition, just changed everything. The accuracy numbers were stunning.
They were. A median accuracy around 0.96 angstroms. The next best methods were closer to 2.8 angstroms.
What does that difference mean in practical terms? 0.96 versus 2.8?
It's the difference between a blurry outline and a high-resolution map. 2.8 angstroms gives you a rough idea. 0.96 angstroms is basically competitive with the accuracy you get from those slow, expensive experimental methods.
So accurate enough to be genuinely useful.
Right.
For designing drugs, understanding mechanisms.
Absolutely. Chemically meaningful accuracy.
Yeah.
And the speed.
Right, that's the other piece. It wasn't years in a lab.
It was GPU minutes or hours per structure. Computational speed.
Which means you can suddenly predict structures not just for one protein, but for millions. Whole proteomes.
Exactly. It transforms entire fields. Drug discovery, material science, they shift from being driven by luck and slow iteration to being driven by systematic, high-throughput computational prediction and search.
And the way AlphaFold did it, using those novel neural network components, the evoformer blocks, That wasn't just throwing more computer power at it, right?
No, it was a genuine architectural innovation, a new way for the AI to reason about spatial relationships and evolutionary information together. It showed that emergent, specialized intelligence for complex science problems. It's a concrete example of that AI and innovative computing synergy in fabric.
So AlphaFold gives us a glimpse. What happens next? What do the 2030s look like?
We start to see the emergence of what our sources call discovery engines. These aren't just projects. They're persistent autonomous systems.
Always on, always learning.
Always on, 204/7, constantly ingesting all new human knowledge papers, patents, failed experiments, data sets, using all of that to build models of what we don't know.
Identifying the frontiers.
And then designing and running experiments, maybe in simulated environments or connected to robotic labs, to explore those frontiers.
Yeah.
Feeding the results back in, refining the models, generating new hypotheses.
It's closed-loop science.
Exactly. Theory, hypothesis, experiment, analysis, all happening simultaneously, continuously in this tight feedback loop. It takes the guesswork out, accelerates everything, makes fields like biology truly programmable.
Okay, but the big question hanging over all of this, if these systems can reason, design, execute, and interpret faster and maybe even better than humans, what happens to human scientists? Are we making ourselves obsolete?
I really don't think so.
Yeah.
Paradoxically, this acceleration might make human scientists more essential, not less. But the role changes dramatically.
How so?
We shift from being the primary doers of science, the laborers in the lab or crunching the data,
To being something else.
to being the architects. The architects of intelligent discovery networks. Our core advantage isn't speed or computation anymore.
It's context.
Judgment.
Context, creativity, values, asking the right questions. The AI might generate 1 million viable drug candidates, but a human needs to decide which disease target matters most, which aligns with societal needs.
So we define the goals, interpret the significance, connect the discoveries back to human purpose.
Precisely. We provide the why. We steer the ship. The future scientist is maybe less like a bench chemist and more like a conductor of an artificially intelligent orchestra or a systems architect designing the discovery process itself.
Focused on governance, safety, ethics, and setting the grand challenges for the AI.
Which leads directly to the ethical dimension. If we're building engines that accelerate discovery this powerfully.
We absolutely need guardrails. We need to think about the consequences.
Absolutely. That's where this idea of a science of responsible progress comes in. It's not an afterthought. It has to be built in. Integrating AI safety, bioethics, governance right into the design and operation of these discovery engines.
Yes. Ensuring that this incredible acceleration is aligned with human values.
Yeah.
That it's accountable, that we understand the risks and manage them proactively. Because the potential for unintended consequences grows with the speed and scale.
Aligned acceleration. Okay. So pulling it all together, this is a profound shift. The scientific paper, that static snapshot,
Gives way to living knowledge graphs,
Awesome.
constantly updated. The lab notebook.
becomes this vast cloud of ongoing autonomous experiments.
And the scientific community itself expands. It's not just humans anymore. It includes these non-human intelligences. Tireless, unbiased, capable of handling complexity we can.
So the final thought is we're not just discovering new things about the universe.
We're fundamentally upgrading the process of discovery itself. The scientific method, which has served us for centuries, is itself being transformed by technology.
We're teaching science to know itself.
In a way, yes. The biggest experiment might be building these new ways of knowing. That's maybe even more profound than any single discovery they might make.
A really powerful perspective. Thank you for taking this deep dive with us today.
My pleasure.
We'll see you next time on The Deep Dive.